This is my favorite mouse. It requires software to even be recognized by my computer. And if this company decides to redact that software needed for this mouse to function on my machine, my favorite mouse is now a 15-button RGB doorstop. Which already sounds rough, but if Ubisoft made this mouse, I may have purchased this, but this is their intellectual property. And the idea that I'll take this off the floor and find a way to use it without their supervision, that grinds their gears enough to write it in fine print in your user agreement that you must destroy this mouse if they render it unusable. Now, this is obviously a fabricated story, but I had to fabricate an outlandish story for such an outlandish situation. Unfortunately, Ubisoft's license agreements are 100% real, and nobody really reads these things unless your name is Butters.
I'm gonna click on decline.
And now Ubisoft has found themselves in some small legal webs because of a game called The Crew. The Crew is an online-only game completely reliant on Ubisoft servers and Ubisoft servers only. They decided to sunset this game, which is the we took the family dog to a farm way of saying we don't think you should be playing this game anymore, so we're going to quietly remove it from your game library without a refund. Yeah, people loved that. People loved it so much they decided to take Ubisoft to court, and that's how the Stop Killing Games initiative started. And on the note of customer-friendly practices, let's talk about Instant Gaming, today's sponsor. Instant Gaming is a website that provides you with redeem codes and activation codes that pretty heavily discount your video games. They have hundreds of thousands of positive reviews and a highly rated trust score for their transactions. And they're helping me supply you with the cheapest game you will ever receive. A free one. When you make an account using the link in my bio, you'll automatically be entered for a free game. All that I ask is, when you do win, just please let me know somehow what game you get. I'm very interested. Honestly, it sounded too good to be true for me. So I went on their website and browsed around a little bit to buy a game. I saw Expedition 33 was on sale for $33. Seemed like a good omen. But I was there for one game in mind, and that was Dune Awakening, which is usually $60. I got it for, I think, $46. I made my account, I verified my ID and let them know that I wasn't a scalper. They sent me the code almost instantly, and then I started playing as soon as it downloaded. I was pretty happy. I saved about 14 bucks, which is good savings because snack wraps are around now. I don't know if you guys know about that, but this ad is derailing, so let's get back to it. You know, one of my favorite things to do when I visit my brother is crack open his gigantic box of PlayStation 1 games and reminisce about the niche games that we used to play, like Soul Reaver, Blasto, Yu-Gi-Oh! Forbidden Memories, Soul Reaver. And every time we pop one of those discs into the PlayStation 1, I can smell Maxwell Blend before I even had a taste for coffee. I can smell the Go-Gurts. I can smell my Captain Crunch getting soggy as we're putting all of the CDs in front of the PlayStation of games we can't wait to play. And I just fear that today's modern generation of gamers might not get that nostalgic drip that I get because they're losing the rights to their games. You know, I've been told by so many boomers that it's just the digital age and it's just the way of the world now. But I just don't see how digital assets come at the cost of physical rights. And I'll be the first to admit it, I was starting to bend the knee. I was starting to lose hope in game preservation. I was starting to think that game ownership might be a thing of the past. And that was until Ross Scott started the Stop Killing Games initiative. Now, I'm not going to butcher what the Stop Killing Games initiative is because Ross Scott has an incredible video on that. Ross Scott is the person that made the initiative himself. He can speak to it to himself, so I don't step on his toes. But on the most surface level that I could possibly deliver it to you, it is an initiative that is generated to make companies stop treating us like we are stupid. We are becoming more and more aware that there needs to be more regulation surrounding how they handle video game licensing, how they treat the customers with these licenses, and how they can better develop games so they don't have something like The Crew happen to us frequently. There has been very little pushback except for like 2 or 3 people, which unironically actually helped the initiative get more spotlight and push through 1.25 million signatures. And before we get into the response, I just want to congratulate Ross Scott for doing something that I think was probably impossible.
Yeah, I know.
You got gamers to all hold hands and sing Kumbaya while pouring lighter fluid on these stupid license agreements. And we are just waiting now for somebody to flick the lighter, and I hope that it happens. I think we're completely undermining how difficult it is to get gamers to unanimously agree on something. Good job. And this caused a response from the European government. It also caused a response from a bunch of corporate lobbyists. Now, I'm not going to pretend like some of these aren't somewhat kind of valid, but I will start breaking them apart, starting with number 1, which is ridiculous, reduced or no player protection. Like, if people are running on private servers, they're very aware that those aren't your servers. And if you could come up with some legal jargon that says that we don't own our games and you can pull the plug and remove them from our library, I'm sure that one of your underwriters can do some linguistic karate and find a way to say, hey, these are no longer our servers. There is no protection from our legal team if you get hacked or anything happens to you because, hey, that's the internet. That's kind of how things work. Most people are aware of that. Now, this one obviously tickled me a little bit because it says negative impact on investment in games, jobs, growth, and consumer choices. And on this line over here, requirements to implement such plans could lead to less risk taking. Ha ha! Hey, Blizzard, when's the last new IP you generated for the public to play? Because the last time I checked, it's been almost a decade, if not more, since you've made a brand new game. And speaking of Microsoft Activision, this one is always really funny. It would lead to less choices. Like, oh, can I play Overwatch or Overwatch 2? I don't know. Which one should I play? Fewer jobs is also a very funny line coming from Microsoft, and I don't think that I really need to explain that one, so we're just going to move on. Competition from community-supported versions. Hey, if you made a really good game, congrats. That was your job, right? Is it really that difficult to make a better version of a game that you made? This is just deplorable behavior coming from a place of insecurity. And like, the more I look through all of this slop, the more I can't just help but to think, if you were able to squeak in that we can just kill the games, then why can't your lawyers just find ways to make this happen? To me personally, I'm just seeing a bunch of people doing like a bunch of lawyer talk. Oh, you have to spend a little bit more money to create a backdoor to a live service game? Hey, how much money did Ubisoft make last year? How much money of that went into CEO and CFO's pockets? $5 million. How many able bodies that were able to create a backdoor into some of these places did you lay off? 2,000. 2,000 was the number. At the end of the day, this video was really strictly here just to show you that Stop Killing Games is an initiative that can actually spark something for real. So if you are able to sign this and you fall under all the categories that allow you to make a difference, I think you should sign it. I think it means something. I think it's the first domino and many to drop when it comes down to just giving gamers better rights. All right, I'm obviously getting a little heated right now, so let's take a step back. Guys, I found it really imperative to make this video. Mostly because a lot, or a good chunk of my short form at least, is about insider business info and critiques of the video game industry. And I felt as if there was an obligation to speak on this, especially because of the tone that I set on my channel. Guys, if you haven't signed this already, definitely take a look at it. Follow it. I'm going to be doing more videos to follow up, give you any news that I possibly can. And shout out to Instant Gaming, because in a world full of $80 games or people trying to press for them, it is nice to have some discounts, especially when video games are supposed to be an escape. I don't know about you guys, but I used to stay in and play video games to save money, not spend money, so it's really nice. But if you like the message of this video, I would really hope that you click the like button, because it kind of skyrockets me into the correct path into the algorithm. And if you really, really liked it a lot, consider subscribing, because I would really appreciate that.